Hey guys, I thought I'd just test out this laptop camera here and see how the quality is. I do have a microphone plugged in and I do have a little bit of light on the side here. So I'm just trying to see how this works. Welcome back to another vlog, guys. This is Ted from Ted's Vlogs. And today I wanted to talk about what's going on in the region. I haven't posted for almost 2 weeks now. I've been a little bit busy trying to wrap things up on my end with some errands here and there, and it looks like everything's almost done with that in regards to that. But regionally speaking, I feel like right now we're having one of those moments again where everybody is talking about economic corruption within the government. So these two things kind of go hand in hand, economics and politics, right? We're definitely having that happen where I am, and we had that happen about a week ago in Indonesia as well. How much of this is indigenous? I feel like it is an indigenous movement, and there are some, though, who feel like there are some very educated people who don't agree with me on that. They actually feel like it is some kind of outside interference, especially in regards to Indonesia. Regardless of that, the topic of economic corruption, economic inequality, um, the challenge to own property or the challenge to find even a decent paying job, the challenge to even rent is something that's on everybody's tongues, and it's something that should be talked about. What's been challenging for me to watch now, at my age, into full adulthood, right, at age 40, is that we currently seem to be, as far as I know, lacking political and economic leadership to get us out of these issues. We have our problematic characters in every single country around the world, especially mine. But I don't see right now, politically speaking or economically speaking, leaders who are able to mobilize large amounts of people indigenously, organically, in any of the countries here in Southeast Asia. Now, I'm saying that as someone who only has surface level knowledge of what's going on, but by now, about 2 weeks into this whole issue, you would think that there would be some voices that would be translated, heard, and talked about internationally in international news, and I haven't seen that. No, they could be there, and I just don't know about them. It worries me though because of my background. Politically speaking, in 2003, I was part of the anti-war movement. Acting pretty much independently and individually to join that movement and to try to put an end to the war, or to prevent the war from happening in Iraq at that time. It was just before the war had started. We organized like the largest movement of human beings like in history, not only in our country but like worldwide, right? It's like a Guinness like world record or something. At least at that time it was. So that said, yeah, we moved a lot of people, we mobilized a lot of people. I hopped on a bus all the way from Duluth, Minnesota at that time. It's a fresh university student, freshman in my first year of college, and the result was nothing. The result was we barely made the news, even though we had huge numbers. The war proceeded. Millions of people lost their lives. Um, and it was a failure in my opinion. Now some people say it wasn't a failure. It did wake up a lot of people, but I mean, how many people have to lose their lives for other people to wake up? That said, we have another opportunity, and those people who are involved in organized labor should be mobilizing. They should be trying to push for better economic change in all the countries affected. There should be some kind of effort made locally to make things better for people. Now, what does it look like in real life? That could be the strengthening of unions, or that could be pushing for major changes, whether within the system or by changing the system, depending on how the people living in each place locally feel like they want to deal with these issues. So I'm speaking vaguely because I don't know how much I can talk about that, and I don't know the capacity of people to do those things either. The capacity to make an effective change, right? But that said, guys, I am hopeful. I'm not a pessimist. I do believe that we can create a better situation for ourselves with the help of God, right? But it's a difficult situation to see people going through, and I do see the struggle, especially post-pandemic. here in Southeast Asia, things have kind of changed dramatically, in my opinion. Like prior to the pandemic, when I was visiting, especially the Philippines, things are really moving in the right direction. I feel like we were economically growing as a country, and there was a sense of hope, I guess, in the air, especially amongst the people that I visited and the people around where I live. And here, even in the most economically challenged areas of the Philippines, people were still very optimistic. And I feel like now, 2025, that optimism is gone. I feel like there's a lot going on here, and I hope that people are able to organize something for the better. And that may beg the question, like, what side of the aisle am I on in terms of these issues? If you've known me in person, or like in real life, you would know that economically speaking, I'm pretty far on the left, only because it just seems to make the most sense to me. I do believe in having like a national. I don't like property taxes. I don't like income taxes, but I do really like just like one national tax that everybody has to pay on every purchase. So if a millionaire wants to own, for example, a Lamborghini, if he wants to buy a new Lamborghini, he'll pay like a 13% tax on that. And if he wants to buy a multi-million-dollar house, he'll have to spend 13% of whatever the total is on that as a tax, right? So I feel like it's a bit of a challenging tax, but it could do away with a lot of silly tax codes and laws and things that get people into trouble into just one simple tax for a nation. I think it can work in a lot of places. I believe in free, or not free, but worker paid for education all the way up and through a bachelor's degree, or even if we want to have a war on ignorance, we could fund scholars and have that paid for by workers, by our taxes. I believe that our taxes should be used to pay for public health care, then that workers are responsible for that as well, and that we as citizens in any country in the world should have access to health care and dental care. I believe that giving birth should be something that mothers shouldn't have to worry about. It should be paid for as well. It's in the national interest of every country to have mothers having healthy children, and these things kind of just go. They just seem very basic to me. The only issue I've ever had, and the issue of not the only issue, but the major issue I've had always has been, socially speaking. I feel like, for whatever reason, people who promote these ideas, the ideas I just mentioned, are embroiled with like societal issues that are so far from the norm that they never make any political progress or success, because they get hung up on issues that just don't. They matter to some people, but they don't matter to the vast majority of people. The issues I just talked about, they matter to everyone, and we're all suffering collectively. But the issues that a lot of people on the left bring up, societally speaking, they isolate me. I'm not on board with them. So I've never. It's hard to identify myself as someone with the left, or to align myself with leftist parties and positions, because of these ridiculous societal takes that they have. And then on the right, I feel the same way because of their economics. Like they just have like these ridiculous things, like we should just rely on charity to take care of health, and that planning. When you hear the word planning, it's the worst thing ever. Like I remember reading Hayek's novel. Like anytime you hear the government talk about planning, it's just nothing but corruption. Like, dude, we need to have planned roads. I've lived in places where there hasn't been good planning, and it really sucks. That's Saudi Arabia, okay? Like when you see a place that was planned well, like the Eastern Province in Saudi Arabia, because Aramco planned it, then it did really well. But when you have like a place that lacks planning, or centralized planning, or they just outsource it to some cousin or something, like in the capital city, that's an issue. Excuse me. I just have my 5 o'clock alarm here. Anyways, guys, or my almost 5 o'clock alarm. So it's hard. It's actually quite challenging for somebody who's socially kind of conservative, or socially conservative and politically, I don't know, ambiguous, but economically on the left. That's the issue that I've dealt with. So it's really hard, actually. Anyways, I hope that we can get our economics in order here in Southeast Asia. I hope that we can make our societies corruption-free or as close to that as possible. And I hope that we all can move forward in the right positive direction. I don't want to see chaos, and at the same time, I don't want to see continued year after year of squandered resources here. I think that there has to be some kind of positive economic and political change that takes place, and I'm also in support of that. I want to be on the right side of history for that one, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are. Also, if you have any kind of author or podcaster or anybody involved in education, especially access to free education, please let me know in the comment section. I would love to hear their takes and their economics. I haven't listened to anyone really like that much lately. I listened to Richard Wolff, who's very far on the left for economics, but other than him, nobody else really. I don't have access. I've tried, reading through Ron Paul's stuff, and through Hayek, right? Like, the whole libertarian thing, and it's very cool. It's just like both of these ideologies. I just want to say one thing is, like, both of them look amazing on paper, and they seem like, oh, that'd be kind of interesting, but they don't really translate to much, or especially on the right. Libertarianism doesn't really translate to much. It's kind of a mess. You can kind of sense that too in the writing as well. Like, how would this actually work practically? Like, if we not having like a public police force or public firefighter, like, it's just kind of ridiculous, right? To me. Anyways, y'all, if you have any good resources, please share them. That's me just trying to get some access to better things to read. And thank you very much. And I hope that this camera produces an okay video. I'm just using my laptop camera for maybe one of the first times for an actual vlog and not like a live stream. So anyways, y'all, take care. Salam alaikum. All the best, and see you for another vlog. Bye-bye.